What's going on, guys? Today I bring you round 4 of my HS Open, and in this round I got paired up against Rodrigo Saraband, a friend of mine. Yeah, this is a rematch actually of the Journey episode 12. I think we played against each other. I'll leave a card here or here with that game so you can see our first encounter. It was really early on, but around 100 episodes later we face again. And yeah, um I already knew what he played. I was a bit upset, to be honest, to get paired up against him because we are friends. I even know his dad. We uh Me and him and a couple of other players went to Spain last year to play. So some chess, classical chess, was a very nice trip. But yeah, I mean, it's always tough to play against friends because someone has to win. But okay, it's competition. It is what it is. So yeah, he always plays the Catalan. So I was expecting the Catalan. Prepared some lines against it. Um, he went to D4. Oh, of course. You can see he at the time that we played, he was rated 2100, almost 2097, and I was 1631. So okay. He went with d4, I went d5, and now he went knight f3, which is a little bit weird because he always goes d4, c4. But later on, we talked, and he said that he didn't really want to go into the Queen's Gambit accepted lines that he knew I could play. And I would probably play that. Because this tournament I was on that vibe, so okay. I didn't want to play that, so okay. I went knight f6, he went g3, and here I went knight bishop f5. And I mean, I was super happy when I saw that he went knight f3, g3, because now we get this reverse London that I also played against Samuel Gonçalves, and this opening was the opening that got me on my first draw against a 2000 plus rated player. So I was like, oh my god, Saravan just went exactly into this variation that I feel very comfortable. And also, I not only felt comfortable before my game against Samuel Gonçalves, I'll also leave a card here or here with that video. It was episode 102. So yeah, I feel really comfortable. And even after my game against Samuel, I went back and I studied some lines even better um, for future games. And in this game, he went here, and I think it was a big mistake for him to go into a variation that I had so much success, but probably didn't know, honestly, because the games at that point maybe weren't on the database yet. But okay, bishop f5 here by me, bishop g2, e6, typical reverse London system, castles, and here h6. This is actually a very important improvement over what I played against Samuel. I think it was something like bishop e7. But h6 is important here to not allow knight h4 picking up the bishop pair. Um, h6, the position is closed. There's no worry about him starting an attack. Um, you know, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. So h6 is a move, a slow move, but you can do it and you should do it here. So because if you don't do it here, you'll play knight h4. So okay, h6 makes sense. C4, C6, keeping everything solid, typical London system stuff here. Knight C3 by my opponent, and here I play bishop e7, and I basically develop the pieces normally, like you develop in this system. A4 here by my opponent, and until a4, this was all preparation in theory. But a4, it's a bad move. It's not a move. It's not a theory move. It's just a bad move, and there's a simple reason. It's a bad move because it creates this weak square on b4, and this is permanent. Um, Pawns don't move backwards, so this is a very big weakness that will actually be felt during the game, as you'll see. The main moves here, just briefly, are queen b3, which I would have to answer with queen c8, and also knight d2. Excuse me, also knight d2, trying to play quick e4 here, and probably would castle, and the game would uh, keep going. But yeah, a4, I never saw this move. I kind of paused because I knew it was a bad move. I mean, it was a bad move just because of b4, and also it wasn't really in theory and stuff like that. So okay, I just played a5 with the idea to not let him expand anymore, and to later develop the knight to a6 and then to b4. I didn't want to do it immediately because he could push a5 and be a little bit annoying. So at least I will have my knight support uh even more with the pawn on a5 as well. So okay, he went queen b3, um, and now I went queen c8, defending the pawn on b7 here. He goes bishop f4, and I go knight h6, just in time to play knight b4 here. And okay, I mean, I have a space disadvantage, but that's just how it goes, man. That's just playing the black pieces, and especially this opening, you have to be comfortable with playing with less space, at least for the beginning of the game slash middle game. Okay, here goes rook ac1, very much makes sense. Knight b4 also makes sense. 95 here by my opponent, and okay, I mean, I have to castle at some point, so I might as well just do it. And here my opponent plays rook fd1, so it just brought the last piece into the game. Makes a lot of sense. This position is dynamically balanced, but yeah, there's a lot of potential for both pieces to go wrong in this type of positions where it looks like nothing is going on, but there's definitely some tension brewing uh somewhere down the line, you know. Okay, here I had to puzzle a little bit because yeah, now you have to come up with some plan. I went queen d8, which is a slow move, but it's a decent one. Just getting the queen out of the c file, because okay, he wasn't really threatening to take on e5 and sacrifice a piece just yet, because the d5 square is very well protected by my knight on b4, knight on f6, and the pawns, or this pawn. And but okay, I mean, moving the queen to a better square makes sense now that I don't have to protect this pawn on b7. And yeah, I just want to dodge these tricks in the future. You know, it's just unpleasant. And okay, I'm also protecting this bishop for the future, so it makes sense. And it's a close position, so slow moves are allowed, and they are most of the time good. So okay, I mean, it's a slow move, but it is a decent move with an idea, of course. Here my opponent plays h3, and yeah, I mean, he wants to expand on the king side. So here I also paused for a little bit, you know, trying to figure out what I should do. And I played bishop h7. And it's another slow waiting move, but the idea is simple. I just wanted to, you know, bring the bishop to a safe square to not get it with g4 with tempo, maybe g5s or or f3s, e4s with tempo. I didn't want none of that, so I just stuck my bishop on h7, and now I get to keep my bishop forever. Here he played g4, so keeping the same idea. He's just really going all out. Of course, he wants to win. He's a stronger player. He's higher rated. He wants to win. Of course, he doesn't want to draw, so he's just going all out. h3, g4, starting an expansion on the king side. But of course, if this doesn't work, his king will be very, very weak in the future. So I also kept that in mind. Here on knight d7, trying to trade his most active piece. And yeah, it makes sense. I have less space, so I should want to welcome some piece trading, and yeah, that's exactly what I want. And here my opponent went for the complications, which I saw that they didn't really affect me all that much. Because of course before knight d7 I had to calculate what my opponent played, which was c takes on d5, starting the complications. Now that I took a piece away from the control of this square on d5 and also the control of e4. But okay, I had to do something. Here I took with the pawn, with the e pawn, of course, trying to get a semi-open file for my rook in the future, keeping these pawns intact. In here, you know, I think I had like 50 minutes. It's important to note that I had 50 minutes, and my opponent only had like 15 minutes at this point, which is very, very alarming. And of course, he was starting to feel pressure because 15 minutes is not a lot, especially when we are only on move 16 and you only get the bonus time on move 40. So there's a long, long time before move 40 here. But here my opponent just went absolutely for um for the complications, for the sharpness with e4. And this move is fine, and it does invite all the complications. And okay, let's see who comes out on top, because like this is gonna get crazy, now the game is gonna get crazy. No more slow moves. So okay, I can take on e4, which is what I did on the game. We're gonna come back to it. I can also play knight takes e5, and I can play, I mean, I can play bishop takes on e4, although I don't really like this. Or I can just ignore this tension and play knight b6. There's a lot of options. But during the game, I discarded giving up the bishop, and I discarded this knight b6 option because, I mean, I do want to get rid of this knight. That was the whole idea of the knight b7, and like this knight just looks weird here. And I don't know, it just looks too passive to not engage with this tension. It looks way too passive. I ended up playing d takes on e4 because I didn't like the fact that after knight takes on e5 my opponent could take with the d pawn. I didn't like this because now the rook is facing, his rook is facing my queen, there's all this pawn tension. There's even e6, possibly in the future sacrificing this pawn but opening up my king. So I didn't really like the fact that he could take with the pawn. It looks a little bit weird at first, but yeah, I didn't really like this because now there's way too much pressure on d5 that I can't really deal with at the moment. So yeah, I ended up taking on e4, and I was expecting something like knight takes on e4, and here I would have to decide another critical position. I had to decide on do I play knight f6, do I play knight b6. I don't want to take here because of course it opens his rook, so I don't want this. Also gives him the square on d6 for his knight. Very bad move to take the knight there. But yeah, I had to think. I had to think about some options. After I took here, my opponent played d5, and like I didn't really look at this move during calculations because it felt really weird. But yeah, the more I looked into it, the more I saw that it just doesn't work. d5 just doesn't work here. Yeah, it's just not uh, a really good move because now I have knight takes on e5. I just took a piece, right? And I'm threatening to jump on d3. If my opponent takes here on e5, I can play knight d3, which is very important. Blocking this file here, the d file, and also attacking this rook. And also, um, I can play. I'm attacking the bishop as well, so I'm forking the rook and the bishop. So this is like a big trouble for white. Uh, so yeah, I mean, what is he gonna do? What was his idea? Um, he took the pawn on e4 now, but now it's even worse. Like probably here he could still like get away with this way of playing with d takes on c6, which I saw during the game. He could do this, and it felt like kind of crazy that this works, but this kind of works for white in a sense because I have to play knight uh, d3 here, knight e on d3, with the same idea of forking the bishop and the rook. And the main point is that after I take on c1, I'm not worried about rook takes on d8 because I'm also attacking the queen, so everything works out. But here, okay, he can take on b7 here. I have to play rook b8. He takes, I take, and yeah, here I'm still threatening the rook. I don't think there's really a good way of keeping the rook. If you go something like rook b1 here, you just get it by knight takes on f2. So yeah, you don't really want to allow this type of of things now. I mean, look at this king, he's just completely naked, and yeah, you're gonna get mated soon. So yeah, you have to kind of give up the exchange here with knight takes on e4. I would take on c1, rook takes, and here bishop h4 feels like a good move. And yeah, there's some complications, and okay, it's not clear who's better. I'm kind of up in material, but this pawn is very very strong here. um and I can't even take this pawn because of knight f6 check. The bishop attacks the queen, a tactic, I would lose the queen. So yeah, it's a very complicated position. So yeah, it's not clear what's going on, honestly. Very very weird. But my opponent didn't see this. I mean, he played knight takes on e4, and here I mean, I could see in his face, I could see the look on his face. He was absolutely disgusted with the way that he was playing, because like, what is this? I literally looked at him like and made like the face like, what? Couldn't believe it. Like, what are you doing, bro? For real, like, this doesn't work. This is a worse variation even, because yeah, I mean, knight d3, and you could see on the look on his face, bro. He was completely like down bad. He was like, oh my god, I just screwed up so much. Oh my god. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's tough. But yeah, knight d3, and here, I mean, I'm attacking the bishop. I'm attacking the rook again. But the problem is that the pawn is still on d5, so this is too slow. Now taking here, it's probably the best move. That's what he played, but this is just too slow. Because now his pawn should already be on b7 to force rook b8. But now the pawn is still on c6, so I have an extra tempo over that other variation. Rook takes on, knight takes on c1, uh, attacking the queen. Here, just captured the exchange, attacking the queen as well. He played bishop takes on c1. Here I played queen b6, trying to just activate the queen and just get out of this d file here. And it takes on b7. And now, of course, important to not fall for the tricks. If I take on b7, he plays knight f6 check, I lose the game because he picks up the queen. So don't do that. Just move the rook off the way. Rook ad8 here, threatening to trade rooks, because if I trade rooks, I'm fine. He only has one rook. He plays rook e1, and here I play rook d3. Very important move to just activate the rook and play for the win. Don't be afraid. And I think somewhere around here, move 23, I thought to myself, I mean, I'm gonna win this game because, like, bro, I'm up a rook. I'm not up an exchange. I'm up a rook. He's literally down a full rook. That's crazy. He he's down a rook for 2 pawns. I mean, if I don't win this game, I'll never win against a 2000 plus rated player. Like this is the best chance. My pieces are amazing. Like this pawn is strong, but I mean, even if he queens the pawn and I have to sack the exchange, I mean, it's not the end of the world, if he has to give up his bishop, you know, for the exchange, I would still be completely winning in this type of position with the bishop pair. But yeah, I paused. I had like 40 minutes. 40 minutes or 30 minutes. I had still a lot of time, and he had like 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes on the clock. So I mean, I just said, I have to keep up the pressure. I can't just um play afraid. I have to just I am winning, so I should just try to mate him. That's the most efficient way of winning a chess game, is to just mate your opponent, and I have everything to do it. Of course, also this h3 g4 before that he played earlier on also weakens his dark squares a lot. So, I can take advantage of that. So, okay, I just played a very active move, rook d3, which I'm very proud of. Just, bringing the rook to an active square here, attacking the queen, also putting pressure on h3. He played knight c1, which, yeah, it's a big mistake here. And yeah. Okay, at least it opens the rook to attack the bishop, but I can just move the bishop to c5 with tempo, because now I'm attacking f2. Here, you know, threatening to take the pawn. And here he played king h1. And I was a little bit like, what is this move, king h1? Is there a trick or something like that? I stopped for a bit. I tried to calculate if there was any tricks, but I didn't see anything. So bishop takes on f2. Just don't be afraid. Just take the pawn. It's another pawn. He plays rook f1. So here I just played queen f6. Another move. Another good move. You know, activating the queen. The queen was well placed on b6, but here f6, it's way better, and I'm planning to transfer the queen to h4 and exploit the weak dark squares. After queen f6, he played queen c4 here. Not really threatening much, so I just kept my plan of queen h4 here. And I'm not really afraid of... he doesn't have time to play rook queen c8, and trying to force another queen into the game. He doesn't really have time for that. It's just too slow. Too slow here. Okay, I played queen h4 here, and my opponent played queen f4 here. Trying to queen, supporting the pawn here, attacking the bishop. So it at first kind of looked a little bit like a scary move. Double attack on the bishop here, and there's no way for me to defend this bishop once again. But he's also threatening to queen here. But I quickly saw that I just won the game with a nice tactic that I found here. Yeah, just beautiful here. You can pause the video, try to find the winning blow. But yeah, I finally got my first win against the 2000 plus rated player, man. I was so happy. I'm still so happy every time I look into this game. Boom, rook takes on h3 check. It's just forced mate. I mean, beautiful. Of course, because of this weakness of the dark squares, his king is completely naked. Bishop takes, queen takes on h3, and now the only move is to bring the queen back to h2. But yeah, it just doesn't work, because I take on f1 with check, and it's gonna be mate in one. So wow, 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 what a game. What a game. 30 moves, I checkmate my opponent, 2097 rated player. I mean, what a game. What a beautiful game. I mean, I'm so proud of this one. I really played well. I managed to calculate well and to you know, just go through the complications better than my opponent. So yeah, it was a brutal game. And yeah, there's not much else to say. I mean, wow, I'm very happy every time I look into this game. I mean, very big milestone for me. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.